Hello, everybody. Hope your weekend has been going well. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the German election. I might have some guests on. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's been a long time coming. We're gonna unfortunately have to say goodbye, probably to Pirate Schultz. Pirate Schultz was like the Dark Brandon of Germany. And I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him dearly. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, as Midna would put it. So what's gonna happen today? We'll get into my predictions in a little more detail in a second. I think the most likely outcome is what I call the Black Christmas coalition, which is going to be the Social Democrats, the Christian Democrats, and the Greens. I think that's what I'm going to go with for what my prediction on the outcome of the German election will be. I think that's probably a pretty straightforward one, but it is what it is. How will the AfD do? I'm not sure. I think they'll probably come in second place. They won't get enough votes to be able to form government. The question is, what will happen with the FDP and the Die Linke and the BSW? So, 2025. So, let's take a look at where we stand now. Results, I think, will start coming in about half an hour or so. So, let's see here. Where are we? Let me just message the people who. Sorry, I'm just taking a look around at what's been going on. So I saw a what's it called Trump has gotten border crossings down 95%, which some people might think be good, but I think it's Israel's behind it to try to what was it again? Prevent Palestinians from entering the country. That's my theory, and I'm gonna go with that. So, okay, let me just see. I'm just seeing if my German friend is around, because he might be able to help. Okay. All right. Let's see what's in the comment section. Basically nothing so far. Just a couple of people saying, hi. Voted an hour ago, was pretty chill out there. Okay. G3P, that's good. Got out there and voted. Okay, so let's look at what the last election was and what we can expect for this one. All right, so the last election was 2021, and Olaf Scholz succeeded in taking power in the aftermath of, I think that was Merkel's last term. Yeah, 2017 was Merkel's last term. Was Merkel's last term, and she lost, and her successor lost power to Olaf Scholz. So Olaf Scholz formed I forget what the coalition name was, but the SPD, Greens, and FPD, DP, formed a coalition. So just a little bit about the parties in Germany, from my understanding and from talking to my German friend. So the SPD is your standard neoliberal center-left party. My understanding is it's fairly similar to the Labour Party in the UK or the NDP in Canada or something, or maybe like the Democrats in the United States. You're fairly typical neoliberal, ultra pro EU center left party. The CDU/CSU is interesting. I would argue they're one of the most successful parties and political parties in history. They dominated German politics from the 1940s onward. Longer if you count the Zentrum as being their predecessor. There is two parties that are in a union. The CSU, which is more Catholic based, and that is in Bavaria. The Christian Social Union and the Christian Democratic Union, which is in the rest of the country. And they are, at the moment at least, your standard neoliberal center-right party. Is there that much of a difference between the two of them? I don't know. Once again, it's a bit like... It's not like the U.S. because the Republicans, especially under Trump, are actually different. I think, from my understanding, it's very similar to Labour versus the Tories. Is, I think, pretty accurate for those of you who know anything about like UK politics or something like that. They're there. Interestingly, so someone who I think is very underrated, and if I ever feel like doing it, I might do a video on him. I think someone who's the most underrated politician of the 20th century, I think, is Konrad Adenauer, the first leader of Germany post-World War II, who I think is just very... I don't know if he's underrated because he succeeded Hitler or whatever, but he did, I think, a very good job running Germany in the aftermath. From my understanding, he ended denazification. He was keen on reestablishing Germany's army to try to get the occupation over so Germany would become a sovereign state again, but very pro-West. Interesting little fact about the about West Germany during the Cold War. The capital of West Germany was Bonn, which is a small university town. The reason that the capital was Bonn and not Hamburg or Frankfurt or Cologne or some bigger city was the intent was always that when the Cold War was over, Germany would be reunited and the capital would be moved back to Berlin. And if it was another city, then there was a fear that that would just become the capital and it would never move back. Or that would be a sign that they were abandoning eventual reunification. Okay, so that is the CDU. We have the Greens, who are another neoliberal party. They represent kind of like the worst of the Green movement. They aren't really that green. One of their policies was, as part of this government, they shut down all the nuclear power in Germany, which caused a massive power outage. And now Germany has started to bring back coal-fired plants because of the Green Party. They are fanatically pro-EU. They are, to my understanding, the most anti-Russia party and the most in favor of things like direct military intervention. There's also a meme that Alex Christoforou has aggressively been pushing. So Angelina Baerbock, in a speech, she said that they took a 365-degree turn. I think she said, whereas obviously there's only 360 degrees in a circle. I think. It's been a while since I've done math. Yeah, it's 360. So she said they're a 365-degree turn. We have the FDP, which is the... Now, in Europe, liberal means something different than it does in North America. Liberal tends to mean more classical liberal. So smaller government... neoliberalism, lower taxes, pro-business, stuff like that. It basically means kind of liberal conservative or conservative liberal, if those terms mean anything to you. So it's generally in Europe seen as a center to center right position that is very pro business and embodies a lot of classical liberal values. It is something that would kind of be. I don't know if there's really an equivalent to it in Anglo countries. I think it's probably more similar to like what the Conservative Party would be like in Canada or the UK compared to the CDU, because Christian democracy tends to be more centrist on economic issues. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well. People are free to correct me if they want. We have Die Linke, or the left. Uh, so Die Linke is the successor to the East German Communist Party. They're basically just a far left party, a left wing to far left socialist party. They wound up having a breakdown because of wokeness and mass immigration. Well, it's a bit of a meme that the old left was like socially conservative. A lot of the woke stuff is very unpalatable to like blue collar workers and stuff like that. Like a lot of the anti racism, the like feminism, a lot of that stuff is viewed as bad. Also, just a lot of working class people have more. I don't know if traditional words views is the correct word. I'm like term on the family structure and that, and a lot of low class, like lower class people. A lot of lower class people don't like mass immigration because it disproportionately makes things worse for them. So they've split into two parts. Die Linke has remained as kind of the rump party, and you have the BSW, or the Sarah Vaughan Alliance, if I'm pronouncing that properly, which is kind of more third positiony. It's a far left party that is somewhat conservative on social issues and immigration. G3P Pi, let me know if I'm doing this, if I'm being accurate. Feel free to correct me. This is just my understanding from. I'm not uneducated on German politics, but it's not my area of expertise either. Where are we? So, we'll look at the AfD in a second. We'll take a look at the Sarah Vaughan Alliance, or the BSW. So once again, this is kind of I'm not going to say Nazbol because I don't think that's entirely accurate, but they're kind of an old left party. They're defined as being socially or culturally conservative on, at least compared to the mainstream, on things like trans issues, on immigration, on things like that, but also very left-wing and anti-neoliberal. Then you have the AfD, or the Alternative for Germany, which is they call it far right, but I don't really like the term, which is a national conservative party, populist that's very Eurosceptic. Most European countries have a right wing populist party, or a nationalist conservative party that's anti EU. They were formed, to my understanding, because of how bad the Merkel years were. Basically, and G3P points this out, as the CDU was basically the only major. Okay, so let me think of how to describe this. So let's say all the voters to the right of the CDU would vote for Merkel because they didn't really have any other choice. Like, if you were on the left of the political spectrum, you could vote for the SPD, you could vote for the Greens, you could vote for Die Linke. If you were kind of in the center, or whatever, you could vote for the FDP. But everything on the right side of the political spectrum was the CDU. voted for the CDU. Uh, let's see here. So I think maybe the equivalent it would be is, let's imagine in the United States, the Libertarian Party was more competitive, and the Democratic Party split into a rump Democratic Party, a like Green Party, and like Democratic Socialists of America all ran separately. So you'd have like three or four parties on the left and like 1.5 party on the right. So it just was very electorally advantageous, and it allowed uh, uh, Merkel to continually win. Now, another interesting bit of political trivia is, because of the way Germany's election system worked, there has only been one time in German history in which a party has won an outright majority, because it's proportional. Konrad Adenauer won a majority in 1957. He almost won a majority actually in 1953. He was one seat short of it, but that was the only time that someone has won a majority. As I said, I'm kind of a fan of Konrad Adenauer. I think he was I forget when he stepped down. He was like in his late 80s or something like that. But I also just like the picture because he's giving the people's eyebrow. So, yeah, just a little bit of German electoral trivia. G3P said the Linke are the SDE gone woke, so the BSW mutinies and split off because the Linke are fake communists. Yeah, that's my understanding. A lot of the woke stuff is unpalatable to people who made up the left-wing coalition. I think in some degree that's what happened in the U.S., wherein a lot of, I think, not that many blacks voted for Trump, but I think a lot of Hispanics really didn't like the woke stuff. Like the Latinx, the removal of like a lot of Spanish colonial history and stuff like that. I think a lot of them really did not like that, and that hurt them quite a bit in the election. So AfD has been basically called a neo-Nazi party. They're evil. They're the worst thing of all time. They want to send the you-know-who to the camps. All that stuff they're being told about it. Most of the like supposed far-right parties in the EU are not really far-right. Keep in mind, Viktor Orban is considered far-right in the EU. I've never heard Viktor Orban say anything particularly far right. Personally, most of what he advocates just seems like fairly normal national conservative, traditionalist conservative policies. There's nothing particularly like radical, I think, about anything he has to say. It is led by Alice Weidel, who is a lesbian who is, I believe, in a relationship with a Indian, if I recall. I forget if she's an Indian or not. Let me see. Like an Indian or half Indian woman. Yeah, with an Indian woman. Which I've heard. Okay, so I've heard different things. That she's kind of a decoy. That they picked like a lesbian woman as to kind of Sri Lanka. Okay, she's Sri Lankan. They picked kind of a lesbian woman to serve as like a, what's it again? I don't know if lightning rod's the right term. It was like a stealth candidate. Although I've heard from people who have some connections to the AfD that in private she's really edgy on most issues. But I don't know. That's just kind of where we're at the moment. It's a bit like the case, I think, with Maloney, because I think Maloney is divorced. So, Let's see here. There's an ongoing debate in Germany as to whether the uh, AfD was going to be banned or not. There's constantly been threats about it. Uh, Here it references a bit of that. The Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution, which sounds like the Commission for the Preservation of the New Order, um, has suggested that they might be an extremist group. They tend to be in East Germany. East Germany, to my understanding, tends to be very irreligious, but also very anti-immigration. They're kind of a product of the DDR. If you go and you look at when I was in Berlin, looking at like the DDR stuff, um, mass illegal immigration isn't such a good idea. They were very much kind of the at least from my interpretation. They seem very much the embodiment of the old left. They seemed like the DDR had fairly conservative opinions on like family structure, and homosexuality and things like that. Sorry, just taking a sip of my coffee. Okay, so let's see here. So that's the AfD. So, I will try to give a little bit of an explanation. Germany has probably the most complicated electoral system in the world. Or maybe that's an exaggeration, but they have one of the like the German electoral system is like a mix of three or four different electoral systems. It doesn't make a ton of sense. I watched a video trying to explain it because you cast one vote. Let me see if I could find a graph or something. But before that, let's look at what the seat projections are. So my personal what I think is going to happen is opinion. We are going to get, I call it the Black Christmas Coalition. We're going to get a coalition of SPD, Union, and Green, CDU, and Green. Um, it'll be interesting what winds up happening. I don't know if the Greens or the SPD have uh, if the Greens have said that they won't enter into a coalition with the CDU, but we'll have to see. Let's see here. So I think that's probably what's going to happen. I don't know if the SPD and CDU will have enough seats on their own. Um, but yeah. Also, the German coalition is not out of the question. The German coalition would be the CDU, the SPD, and the FDP. The German coalition because it's the colors of the German flag. Um, I in one state, I think it's Thuringia. The CDU and the BSW are actually in a coalition to stop the AfD. So like the CDU would rather coalition with like basically communists rather than like reduce immigration. Is I think just kind of shows how fanatical they are. Okay, so like let me see if they have it. It's the most like complicated shit I've ever seen. I don't know. G3P, do you think it's complicated? You're German, so you can like maybe explain whether you think it's complicated or not. Let's see here. Okay, so let me try to like even explain how this works. Okay, so you have two votes in Germany. You have a district vote and a proportional vote. So in some countries, what they have is mixed member proportional. This is not what they have in Germany, but how this works is in mixed member proportional is a portion of the seats are elected through your district member. So that would be like your member of Congress, your member of parliament, your local representative, and then you will also vote for a party. So you might have 300 seats in parliament. Uh, 200 of them will be district seats, and 100 of them will be proportional seats. And that's to try to provide individual districts with a choice in their specific member, but also to provide some degree of proportionality. I'm pretty sure Japan uses that system. So it's possible in that system for a party to not win anywhere in the seats um, in any local seat, but to get seats through the party vote. Now, Germany has this additional thing, which is trying to prevent younger people from, smaller parties from entering. So to enter the Bunders, is it Bundestag? You need to either win three districts or get 5% of the vote proportionately. So yeah, or do you need to do both? I can't remember. If you win three districts, but don't get 5% of the vote, if you still get seats. Um, G3P, if you win three districts, do you still get seats, or do you have to win three districts or get 5% of the vote? I think it's that. I'm sorry if I'm not explaining this very well. It's very confusing. Uh, okay. Federally valid second vote or win at least three constituencies. Okay. So the three constituencies. Okay, I think that is the. Okay, so I think that's the case. So the three constituency thing is there for parties that don't run nationally. So, like the CSU, for instance, only runs in Bavaria, and I don't think they get 5% of the vote nationally, but they win basically every seat in Bavaria, so they still get it. There's also a Schleswig minority Danish party in northwestern Germany that also applies to. I probably could explain it. It's just very okay. So basically, there's a threshold system. Yeah, there's this threshold system where you need to either win three districts or get 5% of the vote to enter, and then I think the seats after that are based on proportional representation. I think is how it works. The main thing that's confusing is just that you do have a district vote, but it doesn't really mean anything, and you have a proportional vote. I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird. So, let's see. Okay, I'm sorry if I didn't explain that very well, but Germany has a president, but the president is largely irrelevant. It's a parliamentary system like Canada, so the president, I think, just has a couple ceremonial functions and takes emergency powers in the case of emergency, but doesn't really have anything beyond that. So, Okay, I'm gonna be no, or I think I got it wrong. Okay, to be honest, I don't really get it. I think half the seats are proportional and half are. I don't fucking know. It's really really confusing. Um, it's okay. You have two votes on your ballot. First is district. Second is party. That's the important one. Okay. Right. Anyways, it's yeah. Okay, so let's see. So there should be. I don't know how long it takes to count votes in Germany. I don't think it probably won't take very long. I don't think it takes particularly long. At least from what I've looked up, it probably will get the results fairly quick, I think. G3P, how long does it normally take in order to count votes in Germany? Like in Canada, we normally have all the votes counted in like 2 hours, like an hour or two. In America, it can take between 30 minutes and 30 days, depending on the district that you're in. So basically, the German. Okay, so basically, what the German electoral system is attempting to do, maybe that's an easier way of describing it. It's attempting to have a proportional system that doesn't wind up like Israel. So Israel has a purely proportional system. So what you get in Israel is you'll get just complete messes like this because it's purely proportional. So you'll have like 12 parties. You'll have to get like a coalition of a whole bunch of different ones. Like I think at the moment it's like, is it four? Excuse me, five. Yeah, so like Likud is governing with a coalition of one, two, three, four, or four, five, six, seven parties. Um, and then you just have this just giant mess, and governments just constantly fall, and it's almost impossible to get any kind of stable coalition. So the idea is to make it proportional, but also to deal with um, not having a billion like one seat parties. Is kind of what they're attempting to prevent. Spain is also like that. So Spain went through a period in the mid 2010s where they went through like I think it was three or four elections because Spain has a proportional electoral system, if my understanding. So we had a case where the regional parties took a substantial share of the vote. The far left, and the center right divided the vote so much that no one was able to get a majority. So you had an election in December of 2015, an election in June of 2016, another election in April of 2019, and then another election in November of 2013. So it's 2019. So you just have a whole bunch of different elections because it's almost impossible to form a coalition. And it's gotten worse over time because Vox is the like right wing nationalist party is now also included, and no one will coalition with them. So let me see, what is it at the moment? Um, in Spain, what's Sumar? Yeah, so like the Spanish government is two parties, and they're supported by like five, like one, two, three, four, five, six, seven additional parties. So, yeah. California took, I think it was over a month to count all the votes. Is what wound up happening. Yeah, it took over a month to count all the votes, which is not sus at all. All the votes they counted went to the Democrats and it flipped a bunch of seats, which I'm sure is a complete and total coincidence. My understanding from what people tell me is a lot of Republicans don't even bother voting in California because even if the district is competitive, the electoral system is so fucked there, there's just not really a point. Because the Republicans actually get some House seats from California. But yeah, it took... Let me see if I can find an article on that. Yeah. California was still counting ballots like a month after Election Day. Which I think they, I don't know, it's part of the reason is they like will count votes received after the deadline and stuff like that. I don't really get mail-in voting, to be honest. At least in Canada, I don't think I've ever actually voted on Election Day. Maybe I voted on Election Day like once. I normally early vote. So generally speaking, in Canada, for a couple weeks before the election, there will be early voting stations set up around whatever your district is, and you can just go over and give them your ID, and then you can vote. And then they will just open those ballots on the day of the election. I don't really get why mail-in voting is necessary, other than maybe for people who live overseas, or on vacation or something like that. But even then, like, I don't know, unless they're like permanent residents over there, where they probably shouldn't be voting in their home country anyways. Yeah, I don't really get it. But no, I think I voted on one election day, and that was about it. Oops. While we're waiting, I don't mind discussing who I voted for over the years. I'm trying to remember who the first ballot I cast for was. I don't remember. I think it might have actually been for... When was Michael Ignatieff leader? When was he leader of the Liberal Party? Just let me see at the... maybe we'll go through it. It's going to be about half an hour before stuff comes in early. Federal elections. So let's go through them. Who did I vote for in each election? The first election I could vote in was 2011. I admit in 2011 I voted Liberal because I was a university student and I was dumb at the time, so I did vote Liberal in my first election. I voted Conservative in 2015. In 2019 I voted Conservative. In 2021 I voted People's Party of Canada. That's how I voted federally. Let me see. Provincially, how have I voted? I'm trying to remember. I think I voted conservative, conservative, and then I voted for the Ontario Party, which is like a right-wing populist party. Was how I voted in Ontario. Let me see. Leadership races. Oh, and in the Manitoba election, I just voted Conservative. Because there's no, like, populist party here to vote for. Let's Let's see here. I haven't decided how I'm going to vote next election. If my district is competitive, I might vote conservative. If it's not competitive, I'll just vote for Bernier. As bad as the conservatives are, I live in a high crime area, and mandatory minimums would be a good thing for me. So, let me see. Who did I vote for in the leadership races? Let's see here. In 2017, I actually didn't vote for Bernier as my first choice. I voted for Pierre Lemieux. I think it was ranked choice, so I think my first pick was Brad Trost, and then Pierre Lemieux, and then a couple other people. I had actually put Bernier like last, unfortunately, which I kind of regret at this point in time, but yeah. In 2020, is this the one I voted for the base black lady? Yeah, in the 2020 election, I went. It was ranked choice, so I went Derek Sloan and then Leslie Lewis. Uh, just because these Aaron O'Toole and Peter McKay are just garbage. So let's see here. 2022. Who did I vote for? I'm trying to remember. I think I did vote in that. I'm trying to remember. Uh, I think it might have been Polyev. Or I can't remember if I even voted in that election or not. I think I didn't really care. I might just not have voted in it. So, yeah. Or maybe I voted for base black lady again. Yeah, I think I voted for Leslie Lewis again in the 2022 conservative election, leadership election. Yeah, so that's who I voted for provincially. Where are we? But yeah, back when I was in university, I used to be. I was kind of like old left back in university. I was kind of like old left slash neocon. It was just a lot of cringe. Was how I was back in uni. So. My grandfather was actually, I don't know if he's a bigwig, but he was actually fairly prominent in the Conservative Party. Looking at my wall, I actually have a letter from Stephen Harper um, that he sent to my grandmother when my grandfather died, and I have that framed. Uh, that back when he was the leader of the official opposition, which is kind of nice. Uh, I don't know. Harper did a lot of bad stuff, but I do miss him. If for no other reason than Harper wasn't a buffoon, whereas what's his name is Justo is just a buffoon. As I've said about Justo, though, I don't think Justo is a. Okay, here we go. Predicted. Okay, so we have exit polls. Let's take a look at this. Okay, where is this? Uh, just trying to see. I mean, the conservatives are really bad on immigration, but the conservatives. So under Harper, they gutted a lot of the hate speech legislation. which is why I voted for which, and they're very tough on crime, which I'm going to vote based on that. Um, so let's see here. Okay, this poll of polls. I'm trying to find where is this exit poll? Because they say there's an exit poll, but I don't see like a source for it. I'm just trying to find it. I'm gonna miss Pirate Schultz. I'm gonna miss him dearly. Okay, so we have the Guardian. Is the Guardian the most insufferable left-wing newspaper? I'm trying to think which would be the most insufferable one. Um, so keep in mind, Canada, most provinces in Canada, well, Quebec, I think, is the only large province in Canada that's still going to be majority white in like a couple of years. So, I like how they just call them far right. That's just how it is. There's never, it's not, it doesn't say far left. So Delinka, despite being the successor of the Communist Party, are not far left, but the AFDA is far right, led by the lesbian in the relationship with the Sri Lankan. Uh, so yeah, like I hate this shit because it doesn't. I'm just trying to find like where this poll even is. Like where is it? There's no link. Okay, it says from ARD via DPA Infocom, but if I click there, it doesn't go to the link. I don't know. Maybe this is like a boomer thing, but as I've gotten older, I've gotten less and less tolerance for things not having a source on them. Like just I tired of Troust and Bro. Like just put a fucking source where I can see it. Like I don't even know. Show me the web page that this is on. For fuck's sake. Okay, is this is project? Okay, so this looks like it's exit polls. Oh, DPA is German state media. Okay, so that's like the BBC then, or the uh, CBC. Okay, so it's looking like we're gonna have. Okay, so it's looking like the FDP and BSW are going to be excluded. Although we'll see what the final vote are. Um, whereas, what is it? Undefined. Oh, okay, so they fucked this up. Look at this. Someone needs to fire an intern. It just says the CDU/CSU just says undefined. They didn't even label it properly. Let me see if they fixed it. Okay. Oh, this is brave though. What are you talking about, Xenon? This was this is brave. The FDP is probably in with 4.9. Is it? Like, but doesn't it have to be 5%? Are you saying like when all the votes are counted, it probably will come out to that? So we'll have to see. Okay, so here we go. Guardian has it up. Exit poll. CDU win. They have, yeah. FDP is going to be close. So what are the likely coalitions? We'll have to see the number of seats. I think the most likely ones are once again, I don't know if the Greens have said that they won't coalition with the CDU. I still think the most likely ones are the German coalition of the FDP, SPD, and CDU. The let's see here, and then or the Black Christmas coalition of CDU, SDU, and Greens. I think are really the only two ones. I do think in a scenario where they would they have to coalition between either the AfD or Die Linke, I think the CDU would rather coalition with the communists. To be honest. The previous coalition was the traffic light coalition of the Greens, SPD, and FDP. Obviously called the traffic light coalition because it's those three. So if people are wondering, today I am drinking root beer flavored sparkling water from President's Choice. This stream is sponsored by President's Choice and Loblaws. As always. If you haven't tried them and you live in Canada, the President's Choice sparkling water cans are actually pretty good. I don't even really, they don't have any sweeteners or anything in them, and I actually find them pretty tasty. They started putting out like soda flavors, so there's like a cola one and a root beer one, which are pretty good. Like this one tastes like root beer. It's just not. It just hasn't been sweetened. The lime one's also pretty good. Lime one's good. The cream soda one's pretty good. But okay, results should start coming in soon. All right. I always think it's pretty I do love Arizona green tea. Arizona green tea is amazing. I remember, does anyone remember when there was the boycott of Arizona tea because people were mad about what Jan Brewer was doing with regards to the border? Um, yeah, they there was like a boycott. And then Machete released the like video threatening Arizona. I don't know if anybody remembers that. You know what else is bizarre? Is Machete is canonical to the Spy Kids universe. Because Danny Trejo appears in it as Machete. So I think technically the Machete movies and the Spy Kids movies take place in the same universe. Spy Kids Game Over was one of the shittiest movies I've ever seen. It was terrible. It was really bad. Oh. Spy Kids Game Over. Game over, man. Game over. I find it funny that under the CDU, Friedrich Merz is so irrelevant. He's not even referenced in it. It just says Angela Merkel. Like it's like you remember the CDU formerly featuring Angela Merkel and Friedrich Merz. Just no one gives two shits about. So there was a I forget if it was in Saskatchewan or Manitoba, but there was a agricultural town that was big for its rapeseed and honey. So it's under its sign. It said the land of rape and honey. And they had to remove it, which was pretty G slur. What's her name is grew up to be really hot though. What's her name? Alexa Vega is an attractive woman. I'll say that. Spy Kids. Yeah, but G3P wouldn't it just be in that case be the Black Christmas Coalition? So I didn't know. The German left just seemed like, sorry, the German Greens sound like they're the worst aspect of, like, they're the worst Green Party. The fact that they support coal power over nuclear, I think, says everything um, you need to know about it. Arizona green tea is your addiction every single day. Well, I mean, I can't blame you for that. My local grocery store like never restocks anything, so there hasn't been Arizona green tea there in a long time. So I don't know. They have the other ones, but not the green tea one. I don't like we baboo. Like, what is your point? I don't get what Mark Carney like why what like I'm depressed about like this country's dead. Like I think it's a do not resuscitate at this point in time. Honestly, long term, I am debating moving to the US, moving to some red state. If I could find decent work there, the only issue is that the US healthcare system is fucked. And that's really my big issue with the United States. Is just how bad the how what a mess the healthcare system is. But no, this country is just dead. Um, so I mean, like with regards to coal, I was recently. Maybe I'll do a video on it. I was doing. I was reading the book Star Builders about fusion power, and they were talking about coal is actually quite radioactive. There's a lot of radioactive particles mixed in with coal. It actually generates a lot more radioactivity than nuclear plants do. Like once again, and I've been complaining about this. We'll talk more about the election when results. Uh, I have started lifting. I go to the gym 3 days a week now, so I am doing that now. I started in November. So that is, I am doing that. Well, I live in like a nice neighborhood. Well, I live in a nice neighborhood in a shitty city, so there's a lot of police around. Uh, so now I need to focus on like losing weight, but yeah, that's the next step. So, but yeah, like it's gotten to the point where it's actually difficult to even order at restaurants because no one speaks fucking English anymore. Okay, well, Mark Carney will he severely reduce immigration or remove the ones like deal with the Indian question? Because if he's not going to do that, then I don't really know why I would support him. I mean, at the end of the day, the only issues I care about in Canada are immigration, crime, and hate speech laws, all of which the liberals are horrible on. I mean, the conservatives are bad on the immigration question, but they're at least okay on the freedom of speech and crime issues. I don't know. I've debated changing my avatar over the years. I just made it a lot more like abstract looking, and I think it looks better now than it used to. It's just kind of become my brand, so it's kind of hard to go past that. I still like it, so let's see here. Oh, okay. I'm gonna give. Okay, are you guys okay? No results yet. Okay, guys, I'm gonna give what all of you will probably consider to be a bad take, but I will give it because I feel like it, and it's my stream, and I can do whatever I want. Okay, so I mean, I can't lift that much, but I have doubled. I have doubled what I started with on the machines, which admittedly wasn't very high, but we are making progress slowly but surely. Okay, so I'm gonna give my really bad take now. Um, so Elon has come up with this. I think I'm gonna call it a gay op. So Elon's plan is every single person in the federal government in the United States is receiving a email asking them to list what they've done in the past week, and if they do not respond by the end of the day tomorrow, they will be fired. It will be considered a resignation. So let me see if I can find the email that they sent out. Okay. Please reply to this email with approximately 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week and CC your manager. Please do not send any classified information, links, or attachments. Deadline is this Monday at midnight. And it is saying that if you do not respond by the deadline, then it will be taken as a resignation. So I keep switching it to dark mode and it keeps switching back, so I just kind of gave up on it. So that is the plan. Uh I don't like that. Like, cause here's the okay. So number one, and if you look at like what Elon Musk said, I don't know. I think it's scummy. He said that all these people have already responded to the email we sent on a Saturday. They should be promoted for checking their emails on the weekend. And a lot of people are saying, well, getting random ultimatum emails that if you don't respond in 24 hours, you're going to be fired is common in the private sector. I don't know where, like, these people have worked previously. Also, what about people who are on vacation? Like, some people have paid time off and they're probably on vacation Monday and they might not be checking their email when they're on vacation. And if you look at this, and this is kind of an issue I have with a lot of Americans, is they'll be like, well, they should be checking their emails on vacation. They should be available 24/7. If you're not available 24/7, then you're a lazy scumbag and you should be removed from office. And people say, well, that's how the private sector works. I mean, that's not. Of the like three companies I worked for in the private sector for over a year, none of them required you to check your email on vacation. When I left, I went and I left my personal email and I said if there is a emergency, here's my personal information. You can contact me and I will respond. But they said, you know what, if we need that, we'll do that. Otherwise, just have a nice vacation. So, like, that's not how it works. Maybe it's how it works at, like, the hellhole companies that Elon runs, but, yeah, I don't know. Once again, no one is going to. I doubt anyone is going to agree with me on this, but that's all right. So, also in my experience, stuff like this is also normally a trap. Like people are saying, oh, it's so easy to do this. I mean, it really isn't because on the surface it looks like it's really easy to send 5 points, but it's hard to know exactly what they're expecting. Um, uh, so or how they want it to be formatted. Uh, so so they might be asking for specific things or something like that. Like I find a lot of the time at work, they'll say, "Oh, just write up something and send it to me," and they're like, "We aren't expecting anything very specific, but they're expecting something extremely specific, and if you don't deliver that, you'll get in trouble." So I don't know. It just sounds like a trap to me. I mean, like, I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about some of the stuff that Doge is doing. Um, I understand there needs to be dramatic cuts. I've been through some of the shit that Elon is doing to the employees, and it's not fun. So I get it, but I also I don't know. I'm glad that I'm not in that. I'm not in that. I don't think I have it in me to be in that kind of position. But no, I have a bit more of a European perspective. Um, on some of these things. So also the idea that like the private sector is not like this is once again like the amount of bureaucracy and nonsense and layers of command and stuff like that. Um, so, will I condemn Musk for breaking the rule of law as the courts have told him to cease what he's doing? No, because there is no rule of law is nonsense in the U.S. It doesn't exist. The judicial branch is way too powerful. I'm glad that they're overriding it. I just disagree with some stuff about this, of what's being done. So, or maybe it's not being done in the best way. So, Constantine, yeah, Budapest is beautiful. Budapest is an amazing city. I wouldn't mind going back there someday. You know what? I think of the cities like it's hard. It's hard to pick. Getting to see the Danube in person though is really cool, just because so many historical things talk about it. Constantine, did you go to Buda Castle? Buda Castle is like one of the best art galleries I think in the world. Let's see. I'm just seeing. We'll talk a bit more about it once results should start coming in soon. Let's see. Constantine, did you have any goulash while you were there? I had some like authentic Hungarian goulash, and it was fucking amazing. Hungarian food's great. Central European food is good in general. I'm just trying to find. Okay, so would you recommend? Okay, let me look at ZDF. What they have. Access denied. Okay. Maybe because I'm a Canadian, I'm not allowed to go to their website. Okay, that's cool. Oh, let me see here. Where's the results? Um, okay, well, the results, I don't see any results, but part of my streams is people, I think, sometimes enjoy the digressions. Goulash is a stew. Um, Goulash is a stew that is paprika based, and it has just a whole bunch of different stuff in it. It has like potato, carrot, onion, beef, dumplings, stuff like that. Uh, Basically, it's very similar to like Irish or British stew. It's just that it has a paprika base, so it has kind of a unique flavor. It's I think served normally with bread, or I had it with a longos. It's just a very hearty, a little bit spicy because the paprika kind of gives it a unique taste. Let's see here. Um, okay, what was the other one? Okay, so Political has exit polls. They don't have. I briefly interacted with Noel when I was on the Kino Casino election stream, but yeah, I didn't really get to talk to him much. I'm kind of afraid of Noel, to be honest. I'm just kind of afraid of anyone who's closely associated with kiwi farms. Maybe that makes me a pussy, but I don't know. Kiwi farms just kind of scares me, which is probably the reasonable take. Let's see here. Yeah, I guess there's just no results in yet. Uh, yeah, when I was in Czech Republic, I had goulash there, and it was also completely different. It was pretty good though. I mean, I like Central European food in general. Okay. My Leaf internet is so bad. Uh, you said that here they had the poll, the results. Sorry, what part of that stream are we talking about? Oh, okay. I think with null, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Fuck. Sorry, I'm having trouble finding these. This. Okay. Well, we're just gonna look at Politico and the Guardian for the moment. Okay. Okay. Faz. You're saying Faz. Okay, let's see here. Oh, okay, here we go. All right, here we go. All right, thank you for putting that out to me. Okay. It's not translating all of it though, but I get the idea. Okay, so yeah, one group is saying that FDP and BSW will get in. The other is saying they will not. We do not have any results announced yet. But we will hopefully see soon enough. Let's see here. Yeah. Are these are projections, right? G3P. I don't think these are actual numbers yet. I don't think because I don't see any results in as of the moment. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what the actual vote count is. Let me see. What does that translate as? German to English. Second vote share in percent. I think that's versus. That's versus 2021. How it's changed. They're the current counts. Yeah, but I don't see anything on the map yet. And the Guardian has no election results yet up as of the moment, so. They publish the votes they've already counted. Yeah, but the Guardian doesn't have any up at the moment. Politico doesn't look like it has any up either yet. Just the exit polls. Okay, so let's take a look here. Okay, so let's assume that these are the results and the FDP and the BSW don't enter parliament. So the coalitions that can be formed will be basically, I think it's going to have to be the Black Christmas Coalition at the time. I don't really think that there's anyone like I don't think there's another coalition possible. Or would SPD CSC? Oh no, that would be just enough. You could form the Black Bread Coalition. Would that be like the wife beater? No, no. Could Green, Delinka, no, you couldn't form a left wing coalition with those three put together. So I think it's almost certainly going to be you can't form a coalition of just the Greens and the CDU. I don't think Delinka is going to enter into a coalition with the CDU. So I think if these are the results, it's just going to be CDU, SPD. Um, so. Explain these names. Well, no, I mean in German politics. So the names are based on the colors of the people in the coalition. So the previous coalition, let me know if you can read the screen, was the Traffic Light Coalition, which was the Social Democrats, the Free Democrats, and the Green Party. It was called the Traffic Light Coalition for obvious reasons because it was the color of a traffic light. Um, right. The yeah. Uh, the what was the other one? The German coalition is the CDU, the SPD, and the FDP because it's the colors of the German flag. I call the the Green SPD and CDU coalition the Black Christmas coalition. Well, because or red and green are Christmas colors, and then the CDU color is black. So Black Christmas, like the movie. One of which was good, the other of which is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. What website is this? I'll post it in chat. Let me see what else would be possible. Okay, so if the second prediction is accurate, then the Grand Coalition isn't going to get enough to. Oh no, the Grand Coalition will not get enough. So in that case, you'll probably get the German Coalition. I think is most likely. The Pan African colors. Uh it could. Yeah, I mean that might be. I prefer Black Christmas Coalition though, and I'm gonna keep calling it that. Yeah, that is the Pan African flag, but that's not as funny. So, yeah. Theoretically, if the CDU wanted to, they could form a coalition with the AfD, but we'll see. Jamaican coalition. Let me see here. Coalition names. 'Cause I think they have the. I think they might have the list. Yeah, the list. Okay, so you have the BlackBerry Coalition, which is the CDU, SPD, and BSW. The Kiwi Coalition, which is CDU and the Greens. The Papaya Coalition. The Germany Coalition, which is the SPD, CDU, and FPD, DP. The Grand Coalition. The Magenta Coalition. The Traffic Light Coalition. Uh, the Citrus Coalition. Oh, okay, so it is called the Jamaican Coalition. No, the Jamaican Coalition is that. The Kenya Coalition. Yeah, it is the African Coalition. The Kenyan Coalition. The Zimbabwe Coalition. The Bahamas Coalition. Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of them. Okay, Watermelon Coalition is a good one as well. No, it doesn't look like there's any results in yet. How tall is Null, anyways? I actually have no idea how tall he is. Jenny Juice. Still no seats called yet. Okay. So Juice is 5'10", I'm 6'1". So there is that. Oh, wait a minute. Is there? Let's see what Al Jazeera has to say. Do they not have like an election tracker? Let's see what CNBC has to say. Yeah, like a lot of these just don't seem to have like the live tracker that updates. Yeah, almost none of these have them. Okay, let's see here. Reuters. Around 8 p.m. local time. When is 8:30 p.m. GMT? Yeah, I'm not sure if any actual votes have come in yet, or if this is just exit polls they're going off of. So, uh, hmm. Let's see here. Let's see what's happening on the Twitter. Uh, Going off of this. Bill Crystal. Is Bill Crystal like the cringiest person on Twitter? Let's see here. I think these are still exit polls. Yeah, I don't think we have actual results yet. Twitter. Omniliberal is the worst. I have not kept up. So is Destiny going to jail? Because if he does, then that shows that we're in like the best timeline, or a better timeline. Your Twitter feed looks cancer. Oh, I mean, it is Twitter. It is the Twitter. Let's take a look at what Will Stencil is doing. Will Stencil is a real human being and a real hero. Someone pointed out that Will Stencil's shirt says super dry, which is kind of amazing. We have this. This guy is from Project Liberal. It's so cringe. Let's see here. Hmm. Elon Musk's child abandonment fetish is my okay. I think that is kind of a rare Will Stencil W, to be honest. Did V? I don't think Sargon snaked V. I think V is just like a classical liberal or like a libertarian or something, and Sargon's just become more of a traditional conservative. So I just think that they don't ideologically agree anymore on anything. Elon Musk is a modern day polygamist. Yeah, kind of true. Oh, let's see here. Okay, we have a hot take from Bob John. They're trying to assassinate Elon using his kid to expose him to being whacked by the CIA. So that is the Bob John take. That is the Bob John take that the CIA is doing MK Ultra experiments on Elon Musk kids to assassinate him. I don't know. Is there something else people would want to talk about? I'm just waiting for the results to come in at this point. Let's see here. I don't know. It doesn't look like there's like that meant that there's any results. Did they just announce the results once they're all counted? Is that maybe what's going on? Maybe that's the case. I don't know, but just keep going. To be a real human being like Will Stencil. I don't know if he ever did. I kept telling PPP to cover Will Stencil. I don't know if he ever did or not. But if they need a new lolcow, I think he's a good candidate for one. How far along am I in season 6 of The Sopranos? I think I'm only like have 4 or 5 episodes left. I didn't find season 6A that good. Season 6B seems like it's a lot better. I honestly think that 5 was the weakest season. I'm in the camp that like the Tony Blendetto plot was not very good, just because it was so rushed. I think it could have been a really good plot, but it just wasn't. Just like I said, because it was so rushed. Talking about nominations for the Spring Summer Archies, I haven't even looked at them yet. To be honest, there's just so much shit. I'll have to go back and start like going through it at some point, and we will. I'll have to take a look. When is Trump giving me a baby mom? Well, Biden is going to give us state mandated GF, so I mean, Zach Kilgore, I know about the ending. Like I've watched most of Made in America. I actually like the ending. Seems fine to me. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is with regards to The Sopranos. I think regardless of what happened at the end, if Tony lives or dies, he is basically finished at that point in time. The DeMeo family is in terminal decline. All of his like reliable people have gotten killed off. And there's a whole bunch of vultures uh, who might come after him. My personal opinion as to what happened at the end is that Tony was whacked by Patsy and Polly with support from New York, and I know that's probably the most like basic bitch mainstream opinion. But I just that's my I think that's probably what happened. The evidence in the show, I think, points towards Polly and Patsy whacking Tony. I don't know, Zach. What do you think happened? Like the other ones that he doesn't get whacked. The one that he has a heart attack is interesting. The weirdest one is that he's going into witness protection, but I actually think it was a good way to end the show. I mean, with regards to The Sopranos, they basically wrapped up all the plots. Like, I don't know if there was really anything outstanding that still needed to be resolved. Everybody's character arc was either finished or they were dead by that point in the show. I want to do a video on Carmela. So do a lot of people hate Carmela? Because I actually don't mind Carmela, personally. I actually kind of like her. I mean, it could be Patsy, Polly, and New York. I think Patsy, Polly, and New York working together. There's strong hints of that. But have I watched Kino Casino recently? No, I haven't watched Kino Casino. I've just been watching too much news to really watch Kino Casino. That and just some of the new anime that's out. Let me see, what anime schlock am I watching this season? What I'm just trying to remember what it even is. I've been watching. I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss so I can check out on time. There's a couple others I was watching. Reincarnated as an aristocrat as it comes out. I'm trying to see what else there was. Oh yeah, I was watching some of Zenshu. I'll have to watch some more of that. Headhunted to Another World was okay. I'm still watching that. It was not. It was not that great a season though. There's a lot of garbage this season. I think next season will probably be better, but yeah. Zach says, "I think he was whacked by by the interior decorator, who killed 14 Czechoslovakians." I just couldn't get into Delicious and Dungeon, so put the anime I watched in a community post. Callie, I think he was being facetious. I don't think he was seriously asking what anime was. I think he was just trolling. Delicious and Dungeon is, I think, Fritz's. So Fritz's three favorite animes, and I don't really agree with Fritz's taste on anything. His three favorite ones are uh, Delicious and Dungeon, Eden of the East, and uh, Spice and Wolf. None of which I have a particularly high opinion of. I guess Spice and Wolf is like okay, but I don't really like any of them that much. I need to do a new top 10 list because my top 10 list has changed quite a bit over time. You know what's weird? Reincarnated as a vending machine actually wasn't that bad. I think that was the weirdest aspect of it. Was like as far as isekai goes, it was kind of okay. Um, I liked Reincarnated as Aristocrat. I'll use my appraisal skill to rise in the world because the main character gets married like at a young age, which was kind of based. I admit, whenever I see like a picture or statue of Hollow, I always think it's Raftalia. They look kind of similar though, especially from a distance. I don't think that's that weird. Okay. Constantine, if you don't mind me asking, what is your ethnic background? So I feel like it's something other than WASP, but I don't know if you've ever specifically stated what it was. Um, So, Rise of the Shield Hero, I kind of wanted to do a video about how it got bad. My issue with it is they introduced too many random side characters. That's my problem with a lot of anime is and just a lot of things in general is they just don't stay focused on a small number of characters. They just like shove in a whole bunch of additional characters. Um, yeah, I figured that you were part Greek or Lebanese or something because of your take on Armenia. I am making my way through Legend of the Galactic Heroes. I'm watching that with Fritz and Absolute Defender. So I'm trying to think, like, what would my top five be now? I think my new top five anime would be Evangelion, Attack on Titan, Legend of the Galactic Heroes, maybe Frieren, and Vision of Escaflowne. I think is what the top five would be at the moment. I might be missing something, but I think those would be my top five. And then after that, it would be Berserk 98 or 96 or whatever it was. Um, I'd have to think about the rest. Who is best Eva girl? I mean, it's Asuka. I don't think that that's really like in doubt. I don't know if I have a reputation. But I really hate the rebuilds. Like I despise the rebuilds. I don't like. Eva is one of the series where I hate the entire EU, and I just have zero interest in it. I only really care about the TV show and the movie. All the other stuff that came after it. I think it's because I hate like the whole alien thing so much. That's part of the reason. I just think that the rebuild is shitty in general. Um, I like I don't want to watch it again. That's why I've never done a commentary track for it because I don't even want to go through all of it. To be fair, like Asuka is like would be like the worst GF because she has like severe PTSD and borderline personality disorder, and it would be like a horrible. It would not be a fun time being in a relationship with her. Who's my favorite YouTubers? Okay, who do I watch? So I like probably the one I watch the most these days is the Duran. Then Alexander Mercurus's uh, personal channel. I watch Daniel Davis, Clint's Reptiles. I like Clint's Reptiles a lot. I'm trying to see here. Asuka, I think, is actually a Quappa because I think her mother was a Happa. There's a couple different Sopranos channels I've been watching. Lotus Eaters is another one I've been watching. I did watch Demolition Ranch a fair amount, but that's coming to an end, unfortunately. Lately, I've been watching a lot of the custom bioactive aquarium videos, like where people build self-sustaining ecosystems, which I think are pretty cool. Uh, so those. I'm trying to think what else do I watch. I used to watch a lot of Winter Gaming with his StarCraft videos. I haven't been as interested in that recently. Let's see here. me go through my list. I just don't want to put this on screen in case something like weird pops up. History Legends I like a lot. History Legends is good. Um, I like Michael Franchise, who's an ex-mobster, who's like a grifter who does videos. Monsieur Z is okay. I'm trying to see who else there is. I don't know if any of you also watch these people or stuff like that. Okay. You know what? Okay, it's taking a while for this to come in, and this is an Argent stream. And this wouldn't be an Argent stream without like a completely like bizarre side trip to watch some animal videos. Shrimp, no filter. Okay. Yeah, so what like these guys like to make is these no
In this
filter
video, I'll
jars,
show you how.
which I think are kind of cool. So they get it to a point where they have plants, shrimp, and sometimes little fish, and it kind of reaches a degree of homeostasis where the thing will just become a self-sustaining ecosystem where the shrimp will eat the decaying plant matter and the algae, which I think is cool. Let me see. What else do we have? Trying to find the one that had the nanofish. So they're pretty cool. So I think that one had nanofish, and then the nanofish were there, I think, to keep the shrimp in check. Let's see here. So I don't know. I just think it's a cool idea, like to build one that the snails and the shrimp clean it, so you don't have to have a filter or water changes or something. I don't even think you have to put in food into most of these. I don't know. I just think that's cool to have an entire ecosystem all in one spot. So. Let's see, are there any results in? It looks like there are still not results in yet. What else is there? There's a cool one. There's a vampire crab one that the guy made. Let me see here. I'm trying to find the vampire crab one. So I think that there's also like shrimp. Yeah, there's shrimp and fish and stuff in it. And then there's vampire crabs. Vampire crabs are pretty cool. Looking. So. Snails are scary. They have parasites. Have any of you seen coconut crabs? So a coconut crab is a type of hermit crab. It is the largest crab in the world. Or I think it's the largest terrestrial crab. So that's what a coconut crab looks like. And that they're called that because they eat coconuts. And they are gigantic. They're a fucking scary creature. Look at the size of that thing. Serp, did you want to come on? You're welcome to come on if you'd like. I will just jump into Argent's stream server, and if you want to come on, feel free to do so. If you want to. Okay. Anyways, sorry. So back to the German election. But I like looking at cool animals. What can I say? No results yet. You know what? We'll do one more field trip. If you've never seen a mantis shrimp are like one of the they've got to be one of my favorite animals. They're just so cool looking. Let me see if I can find one. They have an extremely powerful punch, but I just think they look really cool. Let me see if there's a good close up of it in this one. Also, that's kind of a shit tank he has it in. Let's see. Mantis shrimp punches are actually strong enough to break glass. Is how powerful they are.
So, are the results in, or are these just preliminary?
These are just the exit polls. Oh, hey, sir. Good to have you on, man.
Oh, thank you. I can't really be on for that much long because I got to get groceries for the week.
Oh, okay.
I just
you're
went
an
to
F-star
church.
who has a life.
Yeah.
So you can't spend all day in Discord calls.
Yeah. But, so in Germany, are exit polls usually representative?
I think so. The German electoral system is kind of a mess, but I do think they are generally. The issue that we have at the moment is two parties, the FDP and the BSW, are on the threshold of getting 5%, and they'll either, if they don't get 5%, they don't get any seats.
What's the BSW?
That's the like old left party.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that the one that's led by the half Persian lady?
Yeah.
And this was like anti-immigration break off of Die Linke?
Yeah, my understanding is Die Linke fractured over like wokeness, basically. Like over trannies and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then is the other one the yellow party, the Libertarian Party that might not
Yeah, they're
cross the
like
threshold of 5%?
the Liberal Party.
Okay, but if from my understanding, they can win first past the post, and then there's also constituent seats where you have to cross 5%, and then you get percentage representation in Germany, right?
It's more complicated than that.
Oh, okay. I thought it was. I think because that's how South Korea works, where there's a certain number of seats that are based on percentage, but the majority of seats outright are set regionally.
I think it's like that, but it's to get any seats, you either have to win 3 districts or get 5% of the vote.
Yeah.
So smaller parties often won't get 3 seats. Like, I don't know if the FDP wins any district seats. Or if it's just purely based on proportional.
Is Alternative for Deutschland open to, or not? Is CDU open to coalition with Alternative for Deutschland?
No, they will. They in one state they've partnered with the left.
They partnered with Die Linke rather than.
Or in one it was the BSW. In Thuringia it was with BSW. Yeah, in Thuringia it is the SPD, BSW, and CDU are in a coalition. Um, yeah, they will not coalition with AfD. I think they would. I think they
So
would rather do a coalition. There's something. I think they would rather coalition with the
is it
left.
gonna be is it going to be an SPD CDU coalition then?
Yeah, maybe with the Greens. I call it the Black Christmas Coalition.
Damn.
I mean, you could also call it the Africa Coalition. It's black, green, and red. But I prefer Black Christmas Coalition.
Billy.
There's also
Billy.
you could have the German coalition, which is CDU, SPD, FDP. So
Yeah.
the cursed. You know what? I should call it the cursed coalition, which would be like if Die Linke, SPD, and CDU had a coalition.
I
But
mean, is CDU pledged to lower immigration at all, or
I don't
anything like that?
know. I don't think so. They did some
Okay.
like gay op where they pretended that they were to try to steal votes, but I don't think they actually are. Um, from what people tell me, they actually weren't that bad pre Merkel, but Merkel just did a huge number on them. Uh,
Well, Merkel moved to like the left and stuff,
mhm,
and was like really brutal, like just brutal, like party politics and stuff like that.
mhm.
Because I think Merkel was socially to the left of the SPD at the time.
I think it was
I don't
might
know.
have been
It's
more pro Europe.
yeah, but so basically, a the alternative for Deutschland is going to gain all this votes, but it's not going to lead to anything within any kind of coalition because Germany's system is so dumb.
Oh, it's the firewall. Well, they call it the firewall. Um, like the CDU would rather coalition with Die Linke than with the AfD. So,
I mean, democracy, right?
uh,
All democracy has to stick up against, the will of the people.
to stop the lesbian in a relationship with the Sri Lankan from gaining power.
Yeah, the mass coalition of democracy against the will of the people.
It's not as bad as France, though. Where like the FN won like a decisive victory, but got very few seats.
Yeah, but it just has to do with the way that the German system works, where it's like no party can ever have a majority.
It happened once,
When did it happen?
1950s.
Okay, with
Eisenhower
CDU at
won
that
a
time with
yeah.
Eisenhower.
Eisenhower won a majority once, and one time he won one seat of a majority, and that's the only time. I think he's under. Actually, it's good that you're here because I was thinking about like doing a list at some point of like the top 10 leaders of the 20th century. I was gonna have Eisenhower, Lee Kuan Yew, Deng Xiaoping, Tito. Who else would there be?
I'm not a Nazi, but I feel like including Adenauer is kind of being overly anti-Nazi, and I don't really think that he. I don't think he. I don't know. I don't think he deserves to be in the top 10.
I don't know. He did a lot for Germany in the post-war era.
Yeah, this is gonna be weird, but Sadat actually.
Yeah, it's not a terrible one.
Yeah,
I um I actually so if Hitler had won or survived World War II, he would be in the top 10. Once again, I think by and large, I have a fairly high opinion of him as like a politician and as a military leader.
mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not like in the Hitler was crazy or stupid. I respect him
Yeah,
more for that than for his ideology. Uh,
yeah.
let's see, Salazar, Franco, De Gaulle. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, Sadat. I mean, he regained the Sinai through working the world, and he stabilized Egypt, and he fixed their economy. But he got
And he got Gibbs from
maybe
both superpowers.
yes. I don't know. It's kind of hard to put a it's kind of hard to put a leader from the Middle East in the 20th century, but maybe Guderian.
Of
Is that am I remembering the first prime minister of Israel's name wrong?
Gurion.
Gurion. Okay.
I think it's Gurion.
I feel like overly anti-Semitic people would get mad at me for saying that, but it's just kind of obvious that, like, his level of competence.
I mean, I would say, like, if I had to pick top three, probably Deng Xiaoping, uh, Lee Kuan Yew, and I'm not sure for the third.
Art for South Korea.
Maybe. Lee Kuan Yew, just everything he touched turned to gold.
What about? And I know maybe this will sound bad, but FDR.
Maybe. I mean, under him, America became like one of two world superpowers.
Is Stalin going to be in your top 10?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Lee Kuan Yew, though. I remember like Deng and him had kind of a bromance.
Yeah. How does the Singaporean electoral system work?
I think it's first past the post. It's
Okay.
basically a one-party state, though.
But it's not rigged, it's just like naturally that way.
Yeah, because Asians just prefer that. And the People's Action Party is just really competent.
Is I mean, I don't know if like the German election's like almost there, but
None of the results have come in yet.
okay, so you want to talk about Ukraine?
Sure.
You think that do you think that Trump is just going to make an agreement with Putin and then the US will pull back all aid towards Ukraine and then Ukraine's just going to get wrecked?
I'm not sure. Okay, so just as so because people are so from my understanding, Trump did not say that Ukraine started the war. He said that he blamed them for not starting peace negotiations. I
Mm-hmm.
think is what the if I think he worded it poorly, but my understanding is that's what he said was their fault. Was like that they had a chance to come to an agreement before the war and a chance to
Mm-hmm.
seek a peace treaty, and they didn't. I think is what he said, but the media is going crazy. In Saudi Arabia, they didn't really agree to anything other than just to normalize relations. Like
Okay.
they haven't come to an agreement on Ukraine yet. There was no ambassador to Russia and no Russian ambassador to America, so that's going to get approved and stuff like that. I think that what Trump is going to do next is remove restrictions on Russian oil and gas as a way of
Mm-hmm.
controlling inflation. Because
Mm-hmm.
if he can do that, then that'll lower gas prices in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
just because of how global markets work.
Yeah. Do you think that like Ukraine's just going to get ended up left in the cold ultimately, and then get Russia's just going to make massive gains, or like I don't really see how it ends unless Russia decisively just conquers Ukraine as long as Zelensky's president.
So the U.S. has said that they are started demanding that Ukraine hold elections.
Mm-hmm.
So both
Isn't
Russia and the U.S. have demanded. That's like why Trump is calling Zelensky a dictator and stuff like
I mean
that.
he is a I mean by a pre like Trump definition of dictator, he's obviously a dictator, right? Because he's obviously a military. He's ruling the country under martial law indefinitely, with like
Um,
no promises of elections in the future, or at least some elections.
Now, as to rather the so I've heard debates as to whether the Ukrainian coalition allows the suspension of presidential elections or only parliamentary elections. So the parliament, I think we're certain, can be suspended in the case of an emergency. I don't know if presidential elections can.
Well,
Putin
it has
has.
a set.
Sorry, go
Oh,
on.
go ahead. Well, I was going to say it's a presidential system where elections are set like constitutionally by a year, aren't they?
I think so, but the RADA can be suspended. RADA elections can be suspended during a national emergency.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the
So
deal is with this whole mineral thing they're trying to force Zelensky to sign.
I think that it's trying to strong arm him into seeking peace rather than continuing the war. But I don't think he can. I don't think he understands that, and I think that he'd unironically sign off on it.
Okay, so I don't think it's my interpretation is that because Zelensky was the one who brought this up. Like Trump didn't bring this up. Zelensky offered this. I think partially what
Mm-hmm.
Trump is doing is going, look, to actually pay us back or to provide us with compensation to keep supporting you, the price that you would have to pay would be reducing yourself to an economic colony, and it would be worse than whatever Russia would do to you. So, like,
I mean, what would Russia do to them? Like, they can't have a military, and they have to have free trade with Russia, and Russian companies will dominate because they're bigger.
so the piece of
I mean,
so that
I
the
mean economically.
yeah, so the terms Putin has offered is the four regions plus Crimea are recognized as part of Russia. Denazification, like the ultranationalists get repressed. There's protections of the Russian Orthodox Church in Russian language. Ukraine pledges to never join NATO, and it has a limit. It limits its size of its military. I think are what the
It's like a military only for to end it in like in turn like to prevent a civil war basically or cut down riots like a
yeah,
very
it's
ceremonial small military.
yeah. I think it's purely for internal. They aren't allowed to have a military that can threaten Russia. And those are the
Mm-hmm.
terms that Putin has offered, which honestly is not really anything more than what they've already got.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Ukraine's not going to join NATO because actually Germany is against Ukraine joining NATO because at least one member, because Hungary would veto it, America would
Mm-hmm.
veto it. It's just not going to happen. Um, the regions aren't coming back. So I don't think it's
Um,
that bad a
can I
deal.
change the topic for a
Sure.
second so I can ask you a deeply important lesson?
Hmm.
So what's better, a cat scratching post that's like the ones that are kind of like phallic that shoot up as a tower,
Hmm.
one that is like a carpet, or one that's rope?
Is this like a deep philosophical question to determine my sexual orientation?
No, I'm at Walmart and I gotta buy one
Oh,
because my
okay.
cat's scratching my seat boxes.
I don't know because my cat doesn't. Whenever I get her one, she just never uses it.
You have to. What you do is that you buy. What you have to do to get them to use it is you spray
Catnip.
catnip on it. you use liquid catnip, and then they start preferring to scratch it. The problem is that my cat scratched it so hard he broke the wood that like held it in place and snapped it. So I have to get a new one. And he started scratching my. I have like a CD collection, so I have all these like
Jewel
like
cases?
printer paper boxes. I put the CDs in these printer paper boxes, and then I write on the top in marker like progressive rock or glam metal or whatever. And so he's just been scratching the living shit out of those. And so like I want him to have a tree again that's not broken. But which one do you think will be better?
Oh, I don't know, man. I can't really help.
What is the chat thing?
What does chat think? Okay, so chat, what should Serp get? He's doing the traditional meth no state thing of going to Walmart.
When I was going to Walmart, I saw like kids naked in the parking lot in the cars, and I was like, "Damn, this is pretty meth no state right now."
I live in the meth no state, but it's majority non-white, so
I don't even know like what the future of Canada holds. Like I think Canada's kind of doomed.
I don't know, dude. If you invade, I'm joining the. If I can have a job in the occupation.
I think that there was a poll that said 43% of Canadian Zoomers support American annexation or something.
Yeah, but it's like Trump is at like negative 80% approval in Canada or something like that.
I mean, how many Canadian Zoomers are there? I mean, the birth rate's like. I think Canada's going to have it's going to be the first quote unquote Western country to have -1 TFR or below 1 TFR.
No, Canada's the most fucked. I would say like of all the Western countries, Canada's by far the most fucked. It's going to be majority non-white by like 2040 at the current rate it's going.
I think 2030, dude.
Maybe 20. I'm being optimistic, okay?
Okay. I mean, 2030, maybe 2020, or sorry, 2035.
Quebec
somewhere.
won't
That's what I
be
think.
probably till like 2050, but most other provinces will.
Yeah, but what did chat say? Do they think I should get the carpet one or the rope one?
Someone says whatever would look best in in your house. One person said get a tower. One said a rope kind. Another person said a tower one because they like to stretch while scratching. So I don't know. Has he used?
I'm gonna get a rope one because only one person answered the question.
Okay, that sounds good.
And I used to have a rope one anyway. What were you saying?
Did he use the rope one?
Yeah, he used it until he used it excessively until the wood snapped and it couldn't hold it up anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if the one that has carpet on it's better.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone's ever used one.
Yeah. I don't know. I find with cats they just get obsessed with something for like a month and then they just lose interest and they never are interested in it again.
Well, I think that's what's going to happen with the. I think that you can use the cat nip to make them use it. I mean, he used it until it broke. So
yeah, that's probably a good idea. One person says Day of the Rope confirmed.
Nice.
I don't know. There's no results in yet. Maybe Germany's one of those countries where they just release the results once they're all counted. And they don't trickle out.
Mm.
So I was saying earlier, so a lot of Republicans in California just don't even bother voting because of how corrupt it is. I think you've said.
Yeah. Well, I mean that people have told me that firsthand that
Mm-hmm.
you know
because they had quite a few congressional seats, but it seemed like even those are just completely like. They just keep finding the number of votes just goes until.
I think you can effectively vote until 3 days after the election there, because of the whole postmark thing that you can submit something and say you postmarked it yesterday.
Yeah. What do you think about Doge?
Oh, I think it's amazing.
Hmm.
I think it's like amazing.
I
Absolutely
don't
like
know.
wonderful.
I'm kind of a pussy. I feel bad for some of the people who are getting fired.
I mean, I mean, I guess I should feel that way considering everything, but like, I mean, shit's shit's hitting the fan. Like, you gotta like we can't just coast on forever and hope that everything's gonna turn up like roses.
I think the
Like,
best thing Trump's done is uh nuking U.S. aid. I think will have a dramatic effect on global politics.
yeah,
Because like the left's entire ecosystem was funded by U.S. aid.
yes. Um, yeah, I don't even know it's that what how that's going to pan out in like Serbia or something. Like it's like like Serbia and Hungary and like the Baltic countries where it's like the entire left wing of those countries is just directly paid for by the United States.
Yeah, like I feel like in Hungary, Viktor Orban talked to what's it called? Uh, with Tucker Carlson and said like the entire opposition in his country is funded by like the U.S. aid.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he is going after the NED slings. Does it? I think it's on the chopping block, or they're going to do something about it. Like once again, it's been a month. Like let the man cook. Um, like it's like I kind of am tired of the people who are blackpilling about the deportation numbers. Like it's been a month. Apparently, border traffic, illegal immigration has gone down 95% in the last month.
I mean, just doing some enforcement probably works. Like,
Uh,
there's probably a point where just some amount of enforcement just causes like
Self
huge gain or
deportations.
like huge. No, I'm just talking about like I think that the orders from the Biden administration was just to let people in. And so just by changing that to being like deterring from people letting them in probably decreases it by 90%.
I mean, but that's something. Like that's something. Uh, like that's
I mean, we got to have a future. Like,
yeah, but like
we
I
got to
don't know.
have hope.
I do see these people who are like, oh well, we didn't deport all 30 million, so it would have been better if Biden had been president or something. Or the joke I made is
You
that
know,
the border crossing was something Israel wanted to prevent Palestinians from illegally immigrating to the U.S.
is it bad that I'm going to buy the Conclave movie because I just want to see what it looks like?
I
I'm just like morbidly interested, or is it going to
God
be like
bless you.
absolutely terrible?
It sounds really paused, but like it's an interesting idea
Maybe
for
you're
a
right.
movie. Like it sounds like the
I
idea
just
of
don't
having
think Robert Harris is. I don't know. He's not our guy.
um like a bunch of other stuff good. Like I don't know. I think Trump has largely I don't know. Once again I give him like an A- for his first month. I think most of what he's done is good. I think, as I've said, if all that Trump does is Jan 6 pardons and defunds USA, that alone was worth electing him.
Hmm.
And now we're getting like normalized relations with Russia. Uh, it's funny how Xi and him get along a lot better than Xi does with Biden. Uh,
Um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I assume that Trump's probably a lot more likable in that
um,
kind of situation.
you can't trust a weak man,
Hmm.
and Biden is an extremely weak man. So like, Xi just said that like Biden was a snake who never stuck to his word on anything and always gave evasive answers and was just would agree to something and then get pressured. And Xi just hated him. He's like, at least with Trump, you know what you're dealing with. Like it's better to have someone who's your rival where you know where you stand with them than Biden where nobody knew what the fuck was going on at any given time. So
Oh, base. They have War Back.
Warback?
War Back.
What's
This is
that?
a movie I need to see. It's
Oh,
an animated dinosaur movie from the 90s
okay.
that people forget exists all the time.
What was the film? There was a Czech movie, a Czech dinosaur movie. I forget what
Are
it
you talking
was.
about the one from like the
It was really
the
old.
one from the 50s?
Yeah, because when I was in
Yeah, there's
Prague,
the Czech one from the 50s.
they had like a museum to that film director, so they had like some of the props and stuff. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. Because I think that the main guy that did dinosaur art is from Czechoslovakia, but I can't remember his name. He's like considered the most influential paleo artist.
Mm, but Putin said Biden is
Or I should
predictable.
say, I think he's Czech. I don't think he's Slovak.
I'm just reading. But Putin said Biden is predictable, though. Well, Putin also trolls a lot. You have to keep that in mind.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
You come home to your family. Like, some people gamble or drink away their salary and they come home and they can't provide for their family. You, like, come home and you're like, look, I bought all these dinosaur movies. Like,
Damn.
I spent
No,
the.
I meant conclave.
Oh. No, but that would be funny. Like, where's the groceries? I spent it all on dinosaur movies.
Well, I'm gonna end up going to like 3 stores today. So, uh, do you want me to just hang up for like 5 minutes and come back while I go through checkout?
Sure, you can do whatever. Or you can just mute yourself, I
Okay.
guess. I don't know, it's up to you.
It's just pretty awkward.
Okay, go ahead. Come
I'll
back.
be back.
Uh, Serp said something that I think was very accurate. He said that Hispanics failed to coalesce into a coherent voting bloc. Oh, what's this? Oh, okay, that's interesting. So they're saying that the BSW got in, but the FDP didn't. Interesting. Okay, so I don't know if we have results yet, or these are projections or exit polls, or like what's even going on. Because we don't have anything consistent yet. So I think there's two types of people in the world: people who listen to Dinosynth and people who don't listen to Dinosynth. Dinosynth is based. I don't care what anyone has to say. Maybe that's weird. The music I listen to these days is mostly like ambient mix. Like I like any kind of like sci-fi, like post-apocalyptic, like dark, ambient type of stuff. Is kind of what I listen to these days. Yeah, they're going after the Pentagon. Daniel Davis did a good video on it. So he's been advocating like purging the military for years now. And he was happy because they're firing all the top level generals, and he's just like, look, we need cuts. We need cuts to make the army less shit. He's just like, so much of it is headquarters and just bureaucracy and bullshit, and the army can't even like function anymore. So say what you will about the Aztecs, as I pointed out, the Aztecs would not allow the refugees in. Oh, still no results. I don't know when they'll come in. It's once again, I don't know because like Guardian has no results. It looks like Politico doesn't have results. Or is this projection? Or is this exit polls? Oh, did you guys see that like insane thing the Baltic states did? The Baltic states cut off all their electricity supplies from Russia to felt Putin, and their electricity went up, I think, 300% in like a day, and that was like their gay op, and it didn't work. It didn't work at all. Uh, hmm.
Hey.
Hello again. I was just saying that I think you had a very good observation that Hispanics have not coalesced into a coherent voting bloc in the same way blacks have.
hmm
It's a bit
They're
more like with white people,
they're
where
voting along ideological lines,
rather
like
than racial lines.
yep.
How much do you think Black Lives Matter affected that?
I think it played a part. I just kind of think that even if they're included in the progressive stack or in like wokeism, they don't gain anything from it. Like there's only like a small percentage of people that gain from it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just almost out of the store, so like I don't know. Asians are really weird because they don't gain anything at all from it, but they support it. Like they actively lose the most of any other group other than whites, maybe, but maybe even more than whites do in some aspects. But they still support it, which is bizarre. And it's even more bizarre because historically Asians block voted for Republicans until the end of the Cold War.
My theory is just because Asians are conformist, so they're conforming to the like liberal culture.
Yeah, maybe that's why they block voted for Republicans. But from my understanding, I mean, there wasn't that many of them, but they generally kind of block voted for Republicans.
Well, that's because they came from communist
like 80
countries.
percentile. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying their kids conform to university and then conform to what was located there.
Yeah.
Just seeing if hearing our friend talk about Schultz is pretty funny.
Why? What did he say?
Oh, he just hates Schultz. He just says Schultz is like the lamest most G slur leader in German history. I like Schultz is just
How long has his tenure been?
I think it's almost been 4 years.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that long. I thought
He's just kind of limped
immediately
along.
when they took power that they basically destroyed the German economy and were immediately completely unpopular. Which is hilarious because it's like that's what the Green Party's been running on in its entire life.
Yeah, no, they almost lasted the full term. The last
Wow.
election was September 2021.
Damn, that's sad.
I
Did they
mean,
just have more was the previous election, was it just that Merkel had been in so long and everybody hated her?
yeah, I mean the CDU came second. Like the Traffic Light Coalition didn't really make a lot of sense because it was the Socialists, the Greens, and the Liberals.
Yeah. I mean that's the traditional left wing coalition, isn't it?
I think so.
Aren't the two traditional coalitions in Germany, the Traffic Light and uh, the SPD and with CDU? I thought that those are usually the two
I
main
think
coalitions with
those.
CDU leading.
Although there's also been CDU Green.
Ooh, I didn't know there was CDU Green. That's so cursed.
Yeah, that happened, and I think there was I forget what it was called, like FDP, CDU, and Green. Um, the German Greens are like the worst, though. Um,
I don't fully under. I don't fully understand. This is somebody who's like pretty environmentally conscious.
mhm.
I don't understand the appeal. Like, what do they think will happen if they shut down like if they just shut down coal and stuff? Like, what did they
No,
expect
but
to
they're
happen?
pro coal.
Oh, they're pro coal now.
No, because they cut off natural gas from Russia,
Oh, so
and they closed the nuclear plants.
they know that they were like unbelievably like German anti-nuclear is like fucking batshit crazy.
Yeah, so they've brought back coal power in Germany to make up for the closing of the nuclear plants because that's supposedly, I don't know, better for the environment. Someone's complaining about Bill Crystal. I mean, he's one of those people who has just the bad take on literally everything. Apparently, he was receiving millions of dollars.
Job is just having the worst possible takes like all the time. Every day.
Maybe. Well, I mean, it literally was because I think USAID was paying him. The Romanian election is really funny. So, like, the reason it was canceled was because Russia was allegedly releasing TikTok videos or something like that.
Yeah, the populist debate was supposed to be being funded through Russia. Like, I don't even think it was funded. I think it was that they indirectly supported him through TikTok.
Yeah.
So they just said, "You lose. We're gonna redo it."
Yeah, so they just
And it's
canceled
like, okay. I like how Romania is going to be the first Western. I don't know if Western's the right word, but it's going to be the first European country to abandon democracy. It's fucking funny.
Well, when they investigated, they found that like no TikTok was actually being manipulated by the U.S. and EU, and it actually wasn't even Russia; it was the other way around. I like how Vance just shit on them to their face. So what our friend tells us is that there's just a total meltdown going on in Europe over Vance just blowing them out and just humiliating them. Starmer still thinks like he's going to send UK soldiers to Ukraine.
I mean, we can do that, and I don't even know. Like, I guess you can send an expeditionary force to Ukraine, and you can leave NATO while you're at it.
There's the UK has like, in terms of deployable troops, it's like 20,000. Is
Yeah, it's
realistically what.
interesting because, like, as late as the 2000s in the Iraq War, like, the UK was still a formidable military.
Well, keep in mind, UK military formations have literal commissars.
Mm-hmm.
They have like DEI officers. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the UK has 40 operational tanks.
Yeah, doesn't the UK have less operational tanks than Cambodia?
Yes. Well, I mean, some third world countries just have a lot of tanks, like that are old. The UK has more admirals than ships in the Royal Navy.
Are they all male admirals?
Sorry,
Are they all women?
probably.
I remember when I remember I was doing like statistical like research against women in the armed forces just to know how bad it is, and it was like um, women are like hugely disproportionately officers
Mm-hmm.
in the United States Armed Forces. I think that only the Coast Guard are women like slightly less, like, I don't know if they're equal proportionally to men or maybe even actually slightly less, but in every branch of the US military, women are like grotesquely like overrepresented in the officer corps.
Yeah. Um, you something that might crash Ukraine is there's mass opposition to lowering the conscription age to 18.
Mm-hmm.
I think a majority of the population would rather surrender than do that, just because of how bad Ukraine's demographics are. Um, there are.
Well, I mean, so if Ukraine actively defeated Russia, took control of Crimea, and including took control of Crimea, Ukraine would end up becoming a. Ukraine's fated to be a puppet of Russia, no matter what, because it's just going to economically collapse, no matter what it does, because it has no Zoomers and millennials.
O-
And now,
Obama actually admitted to that, although he said in a different way. He said Russia will always have escalatory dominance in Ukraine. And
I
there's
do think in 20 years, regardless of how this resolves, Ukraine will at least be in the position of Belarus, if not be outright part of Russia,
will
because of just
Belarus
how
join
bad
Russia,
the
or is
lack
it
of
just
support.
going to keep the status quo? Do you think?
We'll see. I think that what's going to happen is that Lukashenko will die, and then a bunch of gay ops will happen, and then either Belarus will like have another color revolution, or Belarus will be annexed.
I don't think Russia is going to allow Belarus to go. Um,
Well, I mean, is Belarusian identity that tangible?
Not really.
Don't most Belarusians like? I don't even think Belarusian. I think it's mostly Lukashenko doesn't want to go through with it. I don't even think Belarusians want to be independent.
Well, they would get a lot of, like, I mean, they'd get gibs from Russia. I mean, they're not the shittiest country in the world, but Russia is fairly well off now. So
Well, I don't know. Russia can't be calculated like other countries can, and Russia has a higher living. Their standard of living is higher than.
similarly, developed countries.
Yeah, because they have to be measured with PPP. Any kind of measurement of Russia outside of PPP, purchasing power parity, is like worthless because of the embargo and everything. Same thing with Iran, actually.
Um, but yeah, it's I don't know. As I've said, I don't think. I think there's like a 90% chance the Ukrainian army will collapse by August. I
I
can't.
mean, what I kind of see is that they're going to have a peace conference. Zelensky's going to reject it, and then the Ukrainian army's going to collapse.
I think okay. I think what Trump is also kind of doing is he probably realizes that there just aren't going to be able to do anything, get a deal done. So it's like, okay, if we can get rid of Zelensky and have a deal, that's fine. Otherwise, we're just going to deliberately sink it so it ends quicker and then we don't have to deal with it anymore. Like, I feel like they're just tired of dealing with it. And so they're trying to sink. Because I think they've stopped military aid now and they've just said Europe can handle it. And
Yeah.
Elon's talking about cutting off Starlink. Keep in mind that Ukraine military communications uses Starlink.
What is Starlink exactly? Is that
It's like
satellite phone?
yeah, it's like satellite phone or satellite internet. The Ukrainian military uses that. Elon has apparently threatened to cut it off unless they sell the uh,
The rare minerals
yeah.
deal, or
Mm-hmm.
which
Budanov, who's the
which
head.
I personally think that the rare minerals deal is just trying to strong arm them to see that it's impossible to continue the war,
Yeah, I don't
so
think
that
it's.
they
I don't
don't.
think it's
Because it's
serious.
really like the question of like America basically behind closed doors is what I imagine is Trump is like, okay, do you want Kharkov to be part of Ukraine or do you want to keep fighting and lose Kharkov? That's the deal. And Zelensky's like, to the last man, and just like saying all kinds of crazy shit that doesn't have anything to do with
Well,
reality.
okay, so like keep in mind that there is like there's no peace faction in Ukraine. There's the pro-war faction led by Zelensky. There's the ultra-nationalist, and then there's like the pro-war faction that doesn't support Zelensky.
Mm-hmm.
There's no compromise faction. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so the issue Zelensky has, to be fair, is if he does start talks, the ultra-nationalists will probably coup him
Mm-hmm.
or assassinate him or something. So he's kind of stuck. Um, so I don't know.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna. I think that this war is gonna might go into a fourth year. I
Like,
think that the Ukraine. I think that there has to be a true Black Day of the Ukrainian army, and I think Kharkov is gonna have to fall. I don't know. I don't think there's going to necessarily be a battle of Kharkov, though.
I think there's only a couple important fortified cities left that haven't completely fallen, and then it'll be more or less straight for the Dnieper. The issue is that Russia could probably end this war whenever they want it. They just don't want to take the casualties associated with it. So they're just going to kind of
Mm-hmm.
keep creeping forward.
Like I said, it's like, does the Ukraine after this war does it want to have Kharkov? That's the question right now. Not if Ukraine can win.
Yeah, but they think Ukraine can still win. Like if you look at like what the NAFO people are saying, they
No,
unironically
I'm not talking about within. I'm not talking about within the Beltway or within
yeah.
Ukraine. I'm talking about reality.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just gonna run the bathroom. We'll be back in 1 sec.
I have to go into Costco, so I have to get my card checked. So I'll be back as well.
Okay, back. Oh, I guess Serp left. Okay, that's cool. Oh, let's see here. I'm not sure how much longer I'll stay on. I wanted to stay on till results came in, but it's starting to look like just that might not be possible. It's just, it looks like they just aren't going to come in anytime. Results in full live. Okay, nothing's been declared so far. We just have exit polls. So I don't know. I will take a minute or something. If there's no results by 1:30, I'm gonna go because I have a couple things to do, and then I'm gonna go see some friends later in the day. So, well, I won't be around later in the day. So, let's see here. How could this happen to me? No, I went to the gym last night, so I'm probably not going to go today. I'm going to go do some stuff with some friends of mine. Maybe tonight when I get back, I'll talk about it if it's something like major. I'm trying to remember what else has been going on. How could this happen? For some reason, I don't know, it's stuck in my head. I'm not gonna say what I bench because it's not very much. It's small. It's double what I started, but I'm not gonna say what it is because I'll just get mocked for it. But
Have you urinated?
oh, hey man, what'd you say?
Did you urinate?
Urinate?
I don't know. You're back
Yeah,
though, right?
yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go for another like 10 minutes, and if no results come in, I'll probably just wrap it up. Um, I've been here 3 hours, and results were supposed to come in like 10 years, or like 2 hours ago.
Okay. Do you think shenanigans are happening?
No, I just think my guess is they're just gonna release all the results at once, maybe. Like they're just not going to release it in chunks. Just once they're finished, they'll come out fully. Um, so it seems like it's taking a long time, but it's not going to be as like that long on the whole.
So it's not going to come out until Monday, you think?
I don't know. It might just be in a couple hours. I have some other stuff I need to do.
Oh,
So.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, let's see here. It kind of sucks covering Canadian elections because like the results get counted in like an hour, so there's really no suspense.
Mm-hmm. So when do you think that the Canadian election's going to happen?
I don't know. It depends
because I don't think it's going to make it to October. Obviously,
I don't know the NDP.
You think that the NDP might not pull out?
Yeah, I think
I think that it won't make it to October because I think I think I think that the liberals sooner because they want to strike while the anti-Trump ire is hot.
That's true.
I don't know. I think that whoever succeeds Trudeau wants to capitalize on anti-Trump anger because they're resurging now. I think that I don't know. I think that the Conservatives are ultimately going to win, but I think that it'll be a lot closer than originally was thought.
Yeah. It's
I don't
just
know
the
what you
NDP
think,
are gonna lose like most of their seats. So
Oh, okay.
that's why I say I'm not sure. Like I forget what they're at the moment, but they might get knocked down to like just some very low number.
What was their all-time high?
They came in second place in one election. I think that was during Harper's.
They've never been in a coalition, right?
They are kind
They've
of
never
this time.
had a coalition with Labour.
You're cutting out. I can't hear you.
Okay, it's not full though, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I can't hear you at all. I think you're out of signal range or something.
Am I better now?
Yeah.
Okay, they've never had a full coalition with Labour, have they?
With the Liberals, no, it's
The
just been supply and confidence.
support, isn't it, right now? Yeah.
Coalitions aren't really a thing in Canada.
Oh.
There's supply and confidence, but like it just you don't normally have coalitions.
I don't know. I love how he ran on. I don't even know what kind of system would Canada have if it didn't have just straight first house. What did he propose when he ran?
It would probably be the same, or we would just have a coalition of random left wing parties forever.
No. But I mean, what system would they have instead?
The Liberals wanted to go to ranked choice because that would benefit them, and the NDP want proportional because it benefits them, and the Conservatives support the status quo. So there's not really any agreement. Didn't Mackenzie King go into a coalition government? Maybe they did during World War II. I don't really consider that to be like the norm, though. Someone's asking.
Sorry, I went into a closet. My phone went off. What did somebody ask?
Someone said there was a coalition during World War II. I think maybe there was one. It's not really that normal in Canada to have coalitions. I think Trump has neutral opinion basically with conservatives in Canada. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna head off then. Thanks for coming on, man. It's always good talking to you.
Yep.
Don't spend your family's
have a
food
good
money
day.
on dinosaur movies.
Okay.
See ya. Well, thanks for joining me, guys. I'm sorry we didn't actually get the results in, but in the words of the great Dark Side Phil,